Chairman Grassley, Chairman Thune, Ranking Member Feinstein, and Ranking Member Nelson, and members of the committee. We face a number of important issues around privacy, safety, and democracy, and you will rightfully have some hard questions for me to answer. Before I talk about the steps we're taking to address them, I want to talk about how we got here. Facebook is an idealistic and optimistic company. For most of our existence, we focused on all of the good that connecting people can do. And as Facebook has grown, people everywhere have gotten a powerful new tool for staying connected to the people they love, for making their voices heard, and for building communities and businesses. Just recently, we've seen the Me Too movement and the March for Our Lives organized, at least in part, on Facebook. After Hurricane Harvey, people came together to raise more than $20 million for relief. And more than 70 million small businesses use Facebook to create jobs and grow. But it's clear now that we didn't do enough to prevent these tools from being used for harm as well. And that goes for fake news, for foreign interference in elections, and hate speech, as well as developers and data privacy. We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry. I started Facebook, I run it, and I'm responsible for what happens here. So now, we have to go through all of our relationship with people and make sure that we're taking a broad enough view of our responsibility. It's not enough to just connect people. We have to make sure that those connections are positive. It's not enough to just give people a voice. We need to make sure that people aren't using it to harm other people or to spread misinformation. And it's not enough to just give people control over their information. We need to make sure that the developers they share it with protect their information too. Across the board, we have a responsibility to not just build tools, but to make sure that they're used for good. It will take some time to work through all the changes we need to make across the company, but I'm committed to getting this right. This includes the basic responsibility of protecting people's information, which we failed to do with Cambridge Analytica. So here are a few things that we are doing to address this and to prevent it from happening again. First, we're getting to the bottom of exactly what Cambridge Analytica did and telling everyone affected. What we know now is that Cambridge Analytica improperly accessed some information about millions of Facebook members by buying it from an app developer. That information, this was information that people generally share publicly on their Facebook pages, like names and their profile picture and the pages they follow. When we first contacted Cambridge Analytica, they told us that they had deleted the data. About a month ago, we heard new reports that suggested that wasn't true. And now we're working with governments in the US, the UK, and around the world to do a full audit of what they've done and to make sure they get rid of any data they may still have. Second, to make sure no other app developers out there are misusing data, we're now investigating every single app that had access to a large amount of information in the past. And if we find that someone improperly used data, we're going to ban them from Facebook and tell everyone affected. Third, to prevent this from ever happening again going forward, we're making sure that developers can access as much information now. The good news here is that we already made big changes to our platform in 2014 that would have prevented this specific situation with Cambridge Analytica from occurring again today. But there's more to do, and you can find more details on the steps we're taking in my written statement. My top priority has always been our social mission of connecting people, building community, and bringing the world closer together. Advertisers and developers will never take priority over that as long as I'm running Facebook. I started Facebook when I was in college. We've come a long way since then. We now serve more than 2 billion people around the world, and every day, people use our services to stay connected with the people that matter to them most. I believe deeply in what we're doing, and I know that when we address these challenges, we'll look back and view helping people connect and giving more people a voice as a positive force in the world. I realize the issues we're talking about today aren't just issues for Facebook and our community. They're issues and challenges for all of us as Americans. Thank you for having me here today, and I'm ready to take your questions.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.
Hello friends! Welcome to a new video from Happy Learning. Today we are going to learn about the moon. The moon is the only satellite that rotates around our planet, and it takes 28 days to completely go around the Earth. But do we know what a satellite is? A natural satellite is any kind of celestial body that rotates, or actually orbits around the planet. The moon is never still. It moves in two ways. It has a movement of rotation and a movement of translation. That is to say, it rotates around the Earth. The duration of the movement of rotation and translation is 28 days. Because it takes the same amount to rotate on its own axis and to completely go around the Earth, the moon always shows us the same face. When we observe the moon along a period of time, it appears to change shape. These changes in appearance are called lunar phases, and they repeat every 28 days. There are 4: full moon, first quarter, new moon, and last quarter. The moon phases are produced by 2 reasons: the movement of the moon around the Earth, and because the moon reflects light from the sun as a mirror. New moon. In this phase, the moon is passing between the Earth and the sun. The illuminated face of the moon is facing the opposite direction to Earth. The dark side ends up facing the Earth, and this is why we cannot see the moon. First quarter. You can see it approximately 1 week after the new moon. One half of the illuminated side faces the Earth. It is called the first quarter because from the new moon phase, the zone illuminated by the sun grows every time. Full moon. Approximately a week after the first quarter, we can see the whole moon illuminated. The Earth is between the moon and the sun, and we can see it fully. Last quarter. The moon presents its other half phase illuminated. The name from the last quarter comes from the fact that the illuminated side becomes smaller and smaller each time. A very easy trick to know whether the moon is in its first or last quarter is the following. If the moon has the shape of a C, it is in the last quarter. And if it has the shape of a D, it is in the first quarter. So now you know, the moon has 4 phases. New moon, first quarter, full moon, and last quarter. Now we are going to learn a few facts about the moon. Do you know the distance between the moon and the Earth? Although it looks as if it's not very far away, the moon is about 385,000 kilometers from the Earth. Another very interesting fact is that a rocket takes 3 days to get to the moon. It's incredible, isn't it? The first astronaut that stepped on the moon was Neil Armstrong. And this very important accomplishment occurred in the year 1969 aboard on the Apollo 11 rocket. The moon is 4 times smaller than the Earth, but it is very important for the sustainability of life in our planet. The moon generates tides. Do you know what a tide is? A tide is the rise and fall of the sea level. They occur every 6 hours approximately. Well, now you know a little bit more about the moon. Very interesting, right? Bye friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the Happy Learning channel.
summer's here, good to be chilling out. I'm off the clock, the pressure's out. Now my girl's what it's all about.
Ready for some sunshine, for my heart to take shape.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here to stay, not moving away. Ready for a summer romance. Everybody's ready, going crazy, yeah, we're out. Come on and let me hear you say it now, right now.
What time is it? Summertime.
It's our vacation.
What time is it? Party time.
That's right, say it loud.
What time is it? Time of our lives.
Anticipation.
What time is it?
Summertime, school's out, scream shout. Everybody rules, no summer school. I'm free to shop till I drop.
It's an education vacation.
And the party never has to stop. We've got things to do, we'll see you soon.
And we're really gonna miss you all.
Goodbye to you and you.
And you and you.
Bye-bye until next fall. Bye-bye.
Everybody ready, going crazy, yeah, we're out. Come on and let me hear you say it now, right now. What time is it? Summertime.
It's our vacation.
What time is it? Party time.
That's right, say it loud.
What time is it? Time of our lives.
Anticipation.
What time is it? Summertime.
School's out, scream and shout. No more waking up at 6 a.m. 'Cause now our time is all our own. Enough already, we're waiting. Come on, let's go. Out of control.
Alright. Everybody. Yeah. Come on.
School pride, let's show it. We're champions, we know it. Wildcats are the best. Red, white, and gold. When it's time to win, we do it. We're number one, we proved it. Let's live it up, party down. That's what the summer's all about. What time is it? Summertime is finally here. Let's celebrate. Wanna hear you loud and clear now. School's out. We can sleep as late as we want to. It's our time. Now we can do whatever we wanna do. It's summertime. We love it. Come on, say it up and down. What time is it? It's party time. Let's go down. The time of our lives.
Yeah.
San Francisco sits on the edge of a peninsula on the Northern California coast. With 43 hills and a population of over 800,000 free thinkers, crafty inventors, and oddballs, this city refuses to be brought down to earth. San Francisco's stratospheric booms and crashing busts aren't for the weak of heart, but as anyone who's clung onto the side of an iconic cable car will tell you, this town gives one hell of a ride. The cable car offers the best way to explore the city, effortlessly climbing the hills. Jump a ride to Fisherman's Wharf. Fight through the tourists to grab a bowl of clam chowder and stroll down to Pier 39's K-Dock to catch the colony of sea lions that call it home. Stroll through Golden Gate Park, San Francisco's backyard. Indulge your senses in the Mission District, the city's hub for music and art. Then step back in time and wander through the neighborhood of Haight-Ashbury, a national symbol of the 1960s hippie revolution. San Francisco boasts a serious foodie scene. The availability of fresh and organic, sustainably harvested produce means local chefs and diners are spoiled for choice. The Ferry Plaza Farmers Market in the Embarcadero is a gourmet emporium with almost 100 stalls offering the best in locally grown produce. About 25,000 locals visit the market each week, with the market at its bustling best every Saturday. San Francisco has its own brand of iconic landmarks. From Alcatraz, the world's most notorious prison, to the Painted Ladies, a lineup of pastel-colored Victorian houses. And Lombard Street, created in 1922 with 8 sharp curves and paved with red bricks, it's one of the crookedest streets in the world. The Golden Gate Bridge is the most iconic landmark in San Francisco. Completed in 1937, the Art Deco suspension bridge connects the city to Marin County. More than 120,000 cars cross the bridge each day.